I'm writing a story that I have to get extremely emotionally involved in because it's going to take 2 or 3 years of my life to do it. So I can't say this will be fun and knock it off in a week. This is like a marriage. This goes on. You have to be in love with this thing for 4 or 5 years and probably the rest of your life. That was George Lucas making The Phantom Menace, and this is the Star Wars Renegades Podcast.
To defeat an enemy, you must know them. Not simply their battle tactics, but their history, philosophy, art.
Look how old you've become.
I am the Senate. This is but a taste of the dark side. Like you said, only the strongest shall rule.
It's over, Anakin! I have the high ground!
Killed for it.
I turned on the Republic.
But I have found redemption.
No, I'm not going to take the fall for something I didn't do.
This is the way.
This is the way. This is the way.
This is the Star Wars Renegades Podcast. Welcome to the Renegade Squadron. Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to the very first episode of the Star Wars Renegades Podcast. This is the Star Wars Renegades Podcast, hosted by the Fandom Empire Network. I'm your host, Sage. Oh, well, there's the first slip right there. You probably know me as Sage. Just going to keep it to Shawn from now on. The guy down there in the bottom right-hand corner who's doing his best Palpatine cosplay impersonation there coming up from the shadows has been a guy that's been by my side for a very long time. I'd very much like to throw his hat into a fire pit. Can't really do that, though. It's Johnny. What's happening, man? And we can't hear you. We already have a mute monster.
Yeah, it was inevitable to happen. You get looking elsewhere on your screen, and you forget the button to press to unmute yourself, and you ruin a great intro line that you set me up for, and now the moment has passed.
Yes, you blew it. And in other news, my show, legitimately, this is happening. This is what happens when you decide that, well, yeah, you're going to do a fully produced podcast that will be all out on all podcatchers as of tomorrow morning and up on YouTube. But you decide, you know what, we're going to keep doing the live show too because we want to interact with fans still. We don't want to miss that part of the show. And it's literally, the show notes have closed on my phone 3 times by themselves. So it's that kind of night. We were literally getting ready to go live, and my mouse crapped out, and then Thomas got the mute monster, and then Johnny got the mute monster. But before we go any further, the guy I just mentioned, Tommy B's in the house. What's happening, man?
Hey, Shawn. Hey, Johnny. I just had a great weekend. We're here. We're starting something new. Not without the hiccups, but hey, I'm excited.
You're excited as I quickly scroll through my phone trying to find the show notes to absolutely no luck whatsoever, and I don't know why. So we're gonna wing it here. I don't have show notes in front of me, so let's start it off with this. If you're new to the Star Wars Renegades podcast, which you are because this is the first episode we've ever done, you can check us out on social media. if you're watching live, all of our socials are at the bottom of the screen. Catch us on Twitter at SW Renegades. Instagram is Star Wars Renegades. If you're watching on Facebook right now, you obviously know what our Facebook is. But if you're not watching on Facebook and you're listening to us on one of those podcatchers, you can catch us on Facebook at two places for Star Wars specifically, Fandom Empire and Star Wars Renegades. So let's get that out of the way right off the bat. Guys, this has been a journey to get to this point. Some of you guys might know us from the Star Wars Wastelands podcast back in the day. You're not going to hear us reference that too many times. It's done. It's in the past. We had to do something new. Our old co-host is no longer with us. That's his choice. Totally understand. There's no animosity there. And we're here on this new adventure. You know, it's going to be a lot of fun. We have the hiccups. We're already getting them. I already literally was tempted to just Bret Hart it and throw my monitor down and just smash it everywhere. Wrestling reference on a Star Wars podcast. Why not? But
yeah, maybe don't do that.
But that wouldn't be good. Number one, I mean, it'd be entertaining. People just randomly see me just grab stuff off my wall and start chucking it. But for the audio listeners, you're not going to get anything from that other than a bunch of sound effects. The visual listeners would then get to see the wife come downstairs and kick my ass on camera, which might be fun. That's the other big piece of news, or not news, a warning that we have to get out there right now. On the Star Wars Renegades podcast, we're going to do our best to behave at times and make an attempt to watch our language. But at the end of the day, the type of shows that we do are not really kid-friendly, and it's probably advised that if you have a young child that you don't let them listen to the show. But we're going to do our best to sort of tone ourselves down for this one, and then let ourselves off the leash when it comes to the Fandom Empire show, which you can catch if you're watching this live right now as soon as this show is over. We'll take 5 minutes, go use the washroom, and then come back with the Fandom Empire show. Another thing I want to hit on right off the bat here before we go any further, we recently launched a Patreon campaign. We got asked by a couple of people that watch our Halloween YouTube videos if we consider running a Patreon. And Thomas and I talked about it in the past, and I wasn't sure we were at a point where we could do that. And it turns out I was wrong. There's 12 people who've already stepped up big time and are supporting Fandom Empire as a whole. Now, maybe they only watch the Halloween videos, or maybe they're only going to pay attention to the Star Wars Renegades podcast. Maybe they're, just watching all of our shit, in which case, fantastic. That's great if you're watching all of our stuff. And if you're not, then, the point is it supports everything, not just one in particular show. But yeah, without further ado, though, guys, I think it's time to dive into this. And before we dive into our first segment, which, by the way, each show, for the most part, is going to have 7 segments, guys. We like to do things in 7s here at Fandom Empire, and we're going to continue to do that. If Thomas or Johnny can monitor the chat, we'll try to get to questions when it's appropriate as people are asking them. I either have to do... I need another device down here. I either got to look at my show notes or I got to look at the chat. And I got to pick show notes right now because we're used to just winging it on a show. We're not used to looking at some highly detailed show notes, and that's what we have right now. So doing things a little differently around here for a better quality podcast. With that said, though, let's get to our very first segment of the night.
Holonet breaking news.
I am the Senate.
Holonet breaking news.
It's treason, then.
All right, so segment number 1, and it'll generally be segment number 1 on the show, is what we call the Holonet Report, where we go over what we consider to be the 3 biggest Star Wars news type subjects that are out there right now, as chosen by the 3 of us. And first up, guys, it was reported last week by Slash Film. This one made headlines, kind of irritated me because on one hand, because it didn't drop on Monday, we had the ability to save this news subject for the very first episode of Star Wars Renegades, which, by the way, is taking place May 25th, 2020, 43 years to the day that Star Wars first debuted. That's pretty special. So it's cool that we got to save this news topic, but it's not really news anymore. But since the three of us haven't had a chance to talk about it, and Johnny is literally waiting for someone to come through his ceiling. So we got some fireworks happening over there. If Johnny just wants to mute his mic, that'd be fantastic. Let's hope they're fireworks and not gunshots, because that'd be a bad way to start the first episode. Guys, this is what had broke anyways. According to /Film, not only has Timothy Olyphant been casted in The Mandalorian Season 2, and by casted we mean already completely done his part because the season's done filming, he will be donning the armor of Boba Fett. Now, I can't tell you how many sites and groups I literally watched go with the headline, Timothy Olyphant is Boba Fett. There were some big ones. I'm not going to throw them under the bus, but literally it's like, did you guys miss the whole Tamora Morrison is coming back part? Like, how could Olyphant be Boba Fett? Anyways, this is how Olyphant is Boba Fett. If you paid attention to the Star Wars Aftermath trilogy, which was a trilogy set up post-events of Return of the Jedi by Chuck Wendig was the author. There is a character in that book who basically dons the Boba Fett armor and is the sheriff of a little town on Tatooine, which is just the idea that there's a sheriff in one town on Tatooine is kind of comical. And I think it's going to fit the actor's capabilities perfect for this, guys. And that's Cobb Vanth. He was in those stories. And make no mistake, that is absolutely who Timothy Olyphant is playing. So when you guys hear that Timothy Olyphant is in The Mandalorian, obviously, if you don't know who Timothy Olyphant is, he has done stuff like Santa Clara Diet, but to me, most notably known from the series Justified, which he was just fantastic in. He was also in Hitman and Deadwood, I believe. So there's a little bit of his background. Guys, you hear Timothy Olyphant has been casted in The Mandalorian. He's going to wear Boba Fett's armor. He's Cobb Vanth, not Boba Fett. How you feeling about this?
Well, I'm excited that Timothy Olyphant is in this because I love him. You know, he's an extremely talented guy. You know, I've seen him run the depth of talents. You know, Justified is a great show, and you know, Santa Clarita Diet is, you know, it hasn't so much been, you know, prescribed viewing for me, but I've seen every episode. I've watched the whole series, and I enjoyed it a great deal. You know, it was funny. So I've seen both sides of the Olyphant coin, and I'm excited to see him in Star Wars. You know, as to the character he's playing, you know, I'll admit I don't really know him because I haven't read the books, or those particular books anyway, so I don't really, you know, have insight into the character other than, you know, hearing the story about him, you know, collecting the armor. So, you know, I'm excited to see the armor, to see, you know, Timothy's character, because he is talented, and I'm excited for it, you know, and if this can play into, you know, perhaps, you know, the real Boba Fett reclaiming his armor simultaneously with the story, then okay. If that doesn't happen, I'm still okay with it. You know, because we're still likely to have, you know, we're still going to have tomorrow's other characters, so I don't mind so much we don't specifically see Boba Fett, you know, himself, but just getting the armor out there I think is a cool thing.
You don't mind if we don't get to see Boba Fett?
No, I don't, because I enjoy the character a great deal, but if you were to put me on the spot and say, who is the most overhyped character in the Star Wars canon, answer
Pick
Boba
your
Fett.
next words carefully.
I'm sorry, but the answer to that question is Boba Fett. You know, he went and established the most intense cult following of a character that only got, 10, 15 minutes of screen time? I mean, you know, what did he really do?
You disappoint me.
Yeah, but what did he really do? I mean, outside of, you know,
He gave the order to put Captain Solo in the cargo hold.
Oh, okay, that's fantastic. But, you know, when you eliminate the EU from the canon, what has Boba Fett really done? I mean, he had his run. He had his run as a youth.
Cargo hold, I think.
He had his run as a youth, which was pretty interesting. You know, he did some good stuff there, but you know, grown man Boba Fett didn't really do a whole hell of a lot.
I'll tell you what. I'll give you the other perspective. I loved Boba Fett. I loved him in the movies before I knew that he did not die in the Sarlacc pit. When I learned that he had the EU and all that stuff was after him, I was ecstatic. And then, however many years ago, Disney came and hit the reset button. Well, they threw Boba right back on in that Sarlacc pit. And ever since that day, I've been on that team. We need to bring him back up. He needs to throw the thermal detonator, blow up the Sarlacc, come up flying with the jetpack, and get back in action. You know, chase Han Solo, what have you. That, you know, there's so much great lore behind this character, and I don't think we're going to see a repeat of it by any chance, but the fact that we're going to see the armor, that's great. The fact that it really seems like we're going to see the return of the character, even better. And the fact that, you know, it's looking like it's all coming together in perhaps a storyline involving his reclaiming of the armor. I'm just beyond thrilled. I'm excited. You know, The Mandalorian, it's great. It's a great series. I think Disney's doing wonderful things with it. I'm thrilled that I'm all in with this Disney Plus service, and I am looking forward to it. I'm so happy it did not get delayed.
Just like to take this moment to let everybody know that this video is not sponsored by Disney and/or Disney Plus and/or Lucasfilm. So I'm going to say something a little controversial here, guys. First of all, that was a hoot watching you guys go back and forth at one another over that. And Tommy B is not going to be happy with what I'm about to say. But to me, adding talent is never a bad thing if it's managed right. If you make me choose between, okay, we get Boba Fett back or we get Timothy Olyphant in The Mandalorian, I'm taking Timothy Olyphant in The Mandalorian over having Boba Fett back. The good news is, though, at least as far as we know, both things are happening. So, like, the idea of Timothy Olyphant being confronted by Boba Fett, that, like to me, that's such rich material. And Timothy Olyphant is such a gifted actor. I really think you're going to give him a lot to work with there. Let's just hope that people haven't got their signals crossed and just assume because the armor was back, Boba Fett was back. Because I believe Temuera Morrison is also going to play Rex in The Mandalorian Season 2. Maybe people just assumed it was Boba Fett, when in fact maybe it was not.
See the armor, you see Temuera. That's probably
Don't crush my dreams.
It's a relatively easy assumption to make, I think. Whether it's accurate or not, we'll find out in the fall.
For sure. And I mean, let's be honest. There's a lot of these people that reported on Boba Fett coming back. I mean, have they heard of Boba Fett? Hell yes. Have they heard of Cobb Vanth? Probably not. So, hell, I mean, even when they announced that it was Cobb Vanth, I had to sit there and think, where have I heard that name before? And then it hit me, oh, right, Aftermath. So time will tell what happens there, guys. The live chat listeners, what do you guys think? Yeah, you happy with, will you be happy with The Mandalorian Season 2 if it's not Boba Fett and it's just Timothy Olyphant as Cobb Vanth? I think we're getting both, though, so let's not cause the mob to start just yet. Let's move on to topic number 2 in the Holonet Report, and that is there seems to be some confusion going around in with the reports about the Star Wars Rebels sequel series. We're not really getting into anything spoilery here, guys, so don't worry about that. So the report was that there was going to be a Star Wars Rebels sequel series that would debut this fall. When in fact, that has not been announced yet. We believe that the trailer was going to debut at Star Wars Celebration, and we're going to touch on Celebration in just one moment before everybody yells that it's going to be canceled. And, you know, the interesting thing here is the guys at Den of Nerds, who can be a little clickbaity at times, but overall good dudes, had the guys Noah and Corey on from Kessel Run Transmissions, who are definitely in the know-how due to, I don't know if he's still their connection, but a connection that they had, and the connection they had is a guy that's been pretty spot on all Star Wars information. but we're not going to mention that name on the show. Anyhow, they believe that Ahsoka is in this Rebels sequel series, which takes place after Return of the Jedi. The problem with that is the Ahsoka standalone live-action series also reportedly takes place after Return of the Jedi. So do you mean to tell me, guys, that we're going to get Ahsoka in two different series, one live-action medium and one in animated medium, both in and around the same time? In my opinion, and I'm sort of on the same wavelength here as the guy from Den of Nerds, Josh, I believe his name is, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to flood the market with the same character on two different mediums at the exact same time. Something here is not adding up. What do you guys think?
You're right. It doesn't add up, and I've been expressing my view on this to different folks, different mediums for a while. I feel like they're doing too much at too short of a time, especially with this character in particular. It's a great character, love it, but at a certain point we're just inundated, and you're just asking too much. And
you're not about to hate on Ahsoka, are you? Choose your next words carefully, Tommy B.
I'm not hating. I'm not hating by any means. Ahsoka was high up on my list of favorite characters for my current standards. But I'm of the opinion start getting a little bit nervous when we got too much going on too short of a time, and I know you have the same opinion.
If you find a way to have the Rebel sequel series revolve around other characters, not Ahsoka, but Ahsoka pops up in it, I'm okay with that. We don't need Ahsoka live action and Ahsoka animated at the exact same time, or in the exact same story at the exact same time post Return of the Jedi. What I think might be going on here, this is pure speculation on my behalf. This isn't like one of the Halloween videos we do where we have a few sources that are very connected. We do have a couple Star Wars sources, but not nearly to the same level. And for me, I can't help but wonder if the Star Wars Rebels sequel series, the animated one that is, ends up following Thrawn and Ezra. And that you see it from their perspective during that series, but in the live-action series, we are getting Ahsoka and Sabine, and now Hera's being rumored, and Bo-Katan, played by Katie Sackhoff. That's just absolutely incredible. That's a great casting. Also, the actress that voiced her, too. And really, I got to get this off my chest. I love Ashley Eckstein. What an incredible person. I think McMahon just... Was it McMahon? Was it you that just figured out that she was married to David Eckstein?
It was a week ago, yeah.
It was a week ago? Okay, so those that don't know who David Eckstein is, former MLB player, one hell of a shortstop / second baseman, defensively anyway. Couldn't hit a beach ball. But...
I won a World Series MVP. He could hit a beach ball, at least for one season.
Yeah, roid rate. No, I'm kidding. But... she's not an actress, guys. She's a voice actor. Not to say that that's not acting. It absolutely is. But you couldn't just turn around and cast her as Ahsoka in a live-action series when she has literally next to no experience. It would have fallen flat on its face. So it's not...
completely different skill set.
It's not Ashley hate going on here. It's doing what's best for a live-action series if it gets picked up, which, by the way, we don't know because her episode in The Mandalorian Season 2 is a backdoor pilot, which I see a lot of people running away. Oh, the Ahsoka series happening. Is it going to happen? For sure. Definite. It's already in the bag. And it probably is, but the fact is it isn't yet. So we'll see how that goes. And Rosario Dawson, whether you like her or not, is a very gifted actress, and I think she'll do the character justice. I'm not sure how the character is going to look on screen. That's a little bit of a worry. You always worry how an animated character is going to look in live action, especially being she's not human. But we'll see what they do. There's so much they can do with what's going on there. What's your guys' best guess that's going on here? Like, are we... There's no way it's both. Tommy, we just had your 2 cents. Fizz, would they really give us 2 different Ahsoka shows on different mediums? Or are we going to... Because all the reports seem to indicate that both are probably happening. One is definitely happening. It's not like they're just doing the animated series. They already got a season or 2 in the bag here. Like, signals are crossed somewhere. They got to be, in my opinion.
No, I think they absolutely have to be. It doesn't make sense to have the same character telling, the same story in two different mediums, and that's just, it's silly, because then you just run the question of, why didn't you just do the whole story this way? That doesn't make sense. And if it's two different stories, then the question is, what the hell are you doing telling the same character two different stories simultaneously? That's confusing as all get out. That's... It's not something you should be doing ever for anything of any character in any universe. So I don't know. I think it's somebody's getting signals crossed somewhere. That's not to say we won't see Ahsoka in both projects, because I think that's entirely possible. But as to whether or not it's going to be too serious focused around her, I think is a fool's gambit if they were to make it, because there's no way you can properly tell two completely different stories simultaneously and not confuse the crap out of your fan base. And you also run into that if you're telling the same story simultaneously, because you will confuse the crap out of your fan base, because the level of knowledge is impossible. It is next to impossible to have two series simultaneously telling the same story. It's even difficult when you have two series in the same universe running simultaneously. I don't know, how much
that sounds like a
TV
challenge.
You guys watch, but it's like the perfect example of, to me, is the One Chicago universe on NBC. It's three different series running simultaneously in the same universe in the same city. There's always some degree of things you learn on one show, pay attention to the next series, and so on. And then their crossovers are the prime example of that, where, if you don't watch one episode or one series, you're completely lost when it comes time to your episode, because you don't know things that happen in the other. And that's an intentional A to B to C, running in a continuous time block. It wouldn't be that way with, these two series. I can't see them doing that. It's silly. And as questionable as some decisions Disney has made since they acquired the licensing and properties, I don't think this is one that they would make, because it's just too, it's too stupid. It's a rookie mistake, and I don't think it's a rookie mistake that they're prone to make.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the Chicago parallel. I got to be honest, I stopped following that a long time ago. But it is believed and reported by several people at this point, several actual, high-ranking covering news companies, Hollywood Reporter, Variety, /Film, you name it, that that seems to be the plan, where they're going, the direction they're going. They're going with some sort of connected Disney Plus series or universe, where you're going to see the Mandalorian cross over into Ahsoka. Obviously, the Kenobi stuff's not going to happen, but there's multiple pieces moving here, and they're gonna be. I don't want to use Arrowverse, because I don't think that's a very good comparison, and I don't think they do it very well. So let's hope it's not that. But you have a lot that's going to happen here, guys. And the fact that there's the conflicting reports between, we're getting the live action Ahsoka TV series, but we're also getting the Rebels spin-off animated series or sequel animated series, but they're both going to feature Ahsoka. It's not adding up here. It really doesn't. It's too many resources into one character. There's no way that's happening. Not to say that she can't appear on both, because I think she can. I'm also not necessarily convinced that the Ahsoka live action series is actually an Ahsoka series. I believe that's going to be more of a multi-character, faceted show between Ahsoka and Sabine and Bo-Katan. Very Mandalorian / Force user driven, possibly to set up something bigger. Only time will tell. We got one more topic to get to here, guys, in the Holonet Report. We're gonna have to be quick with this one. Star Wars Celebration. You think it's canceled, right? Not so fast. Yeah, you're probably not going to be attending no Star Wars Celebration. That seems to be the given. But there's a few reports out there right now that they're really focusing hard behind the scenes to do some live streaming event. If you've watched our other content, you know that we've covered this before. We've mentioned it before. They have so much stuff they're holding on to that they want to debut, that what other medium are they going to debut it in other than just releasing it randomly online at this point? You have the trailer for The Mandalorian Season 2. You have the show announcement for this new animated series, and you have the trailer for the new animated series. That does not include any of the new films that have slowly started to come to life here or other series. That does not include the fact they haven't officially announced Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka yet. So it's our belief anyway that some sort of live streaming Star Wars celebration is in the works. It won't be the same, but it'll be something, and you may in fact have to pay for it. I know we've talked about this before, guys, on other mediums, but does this make sense?
Yeah, it definitely makes sense. I've said before, I'm only willing to pay so much for a live stream, so I think they have to be, a little bit of proactive when they come up with ideas and models like that. I mean, these sorts of things have been happening for a very, very long time. I think they basically know the route they're going to go already. They're just waiting for the right time to announce it. They already know what they want to announce at this sort of event. They're just waiting to do it. At this point, it's just a waiting game. We all know that the Star Wars fandom is not going to be gathering in person for this event. We're going to be gathering around our computers, and we're going to watch it online. That you really just get to the real, I guess, challenge of what are you going to do to make people want to pay for this sort of stream as opposed to just getting the same news 5 minutes later.
Valid point. Very valid point.
I think there's always going to be people that are willing to pay to get the content fresh instead of waiting, 5 minutes to get it, through everybody reporting it simultaneously, because it's, not everyone wants that 5 minute wait. There's a large portion of the audience that's right here, right now, immediately. I must have this, and it makes sense. There's a large portion of the fan base that wants that. There's thousands and thousands of people who spend, thousands and thousands of dollars to attend Celebration every year, just to get that right here, right now. When, like you said, you could just sit at home on your couch and get it 5 minutes later, or watch, the live streams for events that they actually did that for. So I think there's a guarantee that if they decide to go the route of the streamed Celebration, which I think for all intents and purposes, I think we can all agree that is what they're going to do, there's going to be fans that are willing to pay for it, because there are fans that are willing to pay for a lot less.
Oh, there's definitely going to be people willing to pay for it, man. It's Star Wars. Hey, everybody, look at my Star Wars pen right here. You see this pen? It was right next door to Harrison Ford once. He didn't touch it. He didn't write with it. It was right next door to him. $5. Who's got $5? Anybody have $5? Like, it's Star Wars, guys.
I'll give you 50 bars
50
right
cent,
now.
50 cent. It's Star Wars, guys. Look, people are going to pay for it, but I think Tony raises an interesting question, is can they get a big portion of that fan base to pay $10, $20, $30 for a live stream? I'll pay 10. I may even pay 20, but you better outline what's going to happen for the most part in this live stream before I commit to paying that sort of money. You can't just fucking go around the edges hoping to lure people in and then give them a whole lot of nothing. But, and who knows, right? Who knows? But what we do believe is some sort of live streaming event, may not even be called Celebration at this point, but we believe some sort of live streaming event is going to happen. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that was the Holonet Report for the very first episode of Star Wars Renegades Podcast. By the way, I missed this at the beginning. The very first thing I should have read, and I did not. If you're not watching this live and can't see the big bold letters, this episode is in fact titled The Future of Star Wars, and you'll get to see why very, very soon. Let's keep moving on, though, to our next segment. It's time for the Imperial Spotlight.
Imperial Spotlight.
This first segment of Imperial Spotlight, we're looking at Greef Karga. Now, Greef Karga, he's a human male, former disgraced magistrate before he became an agent of the Bounty Hunters Guild, following the collapse of the Galactic Empire. around 9 ABY. He ended up meeting with the bounty hunter Din Djarin, who we know as the Mandalorian, in a cantina to accept 4 bounties that Djarin had captured. Djarin refused to accept payment in Imperial credits, forcing Karga to pay him in calamari flan. Now, after this, Karga told Djarin about an unusual job from an individual known as the Client, who was associated with Imperial Remnant. Karga's portrayed on screen by legendary actor Carl Weathers. And so, thus far, he's only appeared in Season 1 of The Mandalorian. And to tell you all the truth, I really, really loved this character. You started out hating him in the first couple episodes, at least I did. I had real mixed opinions. But then as the series progressed, I really started seeing, how he's all multifaceted and just intriguing. And I really, really, really hope we get to see more of him on screen as we go forward. Shawn, what do you think of this character? What do you think of Carl Weathers' Star Wars premiere?
You just said it, man. It's Carl fucking Weathers.
Mm-hmm.
It's Apollo Creed. It's Chubbs from Happy Gilmore. It's that random guy with Harrison Ford from Force 10 Navarone. Carl Weathers is a legend, man. He's an absolute legend. He could be playing, I don't know, an R2 unit, and it's Carl Weathers, and he would provide all sorts of personality and charisma. Look, do I like the character's name? No, I think the character's name is complete dog crap. It just feels like, okay, let me type into a search engine, random Star Wars name. Oh, this is the one we grabbed. Let's pull it out. That's what it feels like they did. That said, it doesn't matter. His name could be Popsicle Stick. It's Carl Weathers, and he's fan-fucking-tastic, and I'm on board for it. He was great, and I'm glad we're going to get more of him.
I'm still stuck on Popsicle Stick.
I like the name generator. I like the randomizer. It's like you're going on the Old Republic, making a new character, trying to figure out who. Click. Oh, Grief Karga. There we go. I got a name.
Okay, I know Fizz probably wants to cut in here. Hang on. For the people that go on the Old Republic or any game and just pick random name generator, you can't take 5 minutes to come up with your own name for your own character that's going to represent you in some sort of universe? You got to click a name generator? Yeah, I'm calling you out. That's right. You know what? I'm calling you out so much. That's what I think of name generators, guys. Sorry, Fizz. Jumped all over you. For those that can't visually see the podcast right now, McMahon is literally, or pardon me, Johnny. I've been calling him Fizz all day. Johnny is here. Let's just clear this up. Shawn sometimes gets called Sage. Tommy is just Tommy because and Johnny sometimes gets called Fizz or McMahon. It's just something that's happened over the years. So try to stick with us. Zach is now claiming in the chat, for those of you that can't see the chat, that Carl Weathers is, in fact, a popsicle stick. We are not saying that, just so it's clear. Fizz, what do you got here for us, man?
You're a horrible human being. But
it's not entirely wrong.
Well, no, that's true. Grief Karga, horrible name, amazing character. I think you said enough about Carl Weathers. I don't need to add any more to it because he's amazing. He's awesome. He's Carl freaking Weathers. He's Apollo Creed. I don't need to say anything more than that. I mean, if he shows up wearing stars and stripes shorts in season 2, then I'm all for this. A, it means he's about to die. But B, it means he's going to go out in a blaze of glory.
Throw in the damn towel! Needed a sound clip for that.
Yeah. But no, I mean, it's a character that I want more of. We didn't get nearly enough of him in season 1, but what we did get was good. There was clearly a lot of depth to that character that you don't typically get in a character that basically was an also-ran. He wasn't going to be the focus. He wasn't going to be the center of attention, but yet he stole some of that spotlight and made it at least a little bit about him, which is, it's not easy to do. I mean, Carl Weathers is an amazing chewer of scenery. He really is. And I look forward to seeing more of him in season 2. And I want that. I want to be exactly that. I want more of him.
So you're basically saying he's going to Johnny Cage it?
No, if he's going to Johnny Cage it, he's going to die in the first 30 seconds of the first
Yeah, that's
scene.
what I'm saying. You're jinxing him. You're jinxing
So
him.
no, he's not going to Johnny Cage it.
Anyways, guys, that was the Imperial Spotlight. Each and every week, we're going to take a little bit of a deep dive into different Star Wars characters. Yeah, eventually we'll get to like the Lukes and the Hans and the Leias and the Vaders, etc. But we're going to go around the outside characters that don't get as much attention on screen, and it can be from current canon and or legends. So we're definitely going to take some time in many facets of the Star Wars universe. With that said, guys, let's keep moving on, and it's time for a little segment that I like to call Rumor or Not. What are you talking about, dude? It's complete nonsense. It's just a rumor. You need to calm the fuck down.
Well, I mean, it's real to me, damn it.
All right, it's time for Rumor or Not, guys. And what happens in this segment is I present, we'll be taking turns, but in this episode, I present Tommy B and Johnny with 3 headlines. And they have to decide if these are real rumors being spread by real media news outlets or something I've pulled out of my ass, or little, Joey and Timmy down the street just want to see something so bad that they make the rumor up. Is it a real rumor with some legs to it or not? You, the audience, if you're listening live or participating live in the live chat, can feel free to participate. Those of you that are watching on YouTube the following day or listening to it on a podcatcher, you can still participate, but we won't see your answers. All right, guys. So first up in Rumor or Not, the first one is the Star Wars 3D conversions, the ones that have not been officially released yet. The only ones that I believe were officially released was the Phantom Menace, and then at Celebration one year they showed Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. But as you know, at $25 million a conversion, the intent was to do all 6 of the original movies. So now, apparently, a rumor has come out where they have gone back and they're going to finish these 3D conversions and release them over the next couple of years in theaters. That's the rumor, apparently. Or is it? Is it a real rumor or is it a fake rumor? Johnny?
Wow, that's you parsed this one so fancifully that I don't really know. But it's stupid. It's a horrible idea. So I'm going to assume it's not a rumor.
Excuse me. Tommy B.
I'll say there's someone probably speculating about it somewhere, but no, it's a bullshit rumor.
And survey says you guys are correct. That was not pulled out of my ass. In fact, that was just a few people I seen ranting about it on Facebook. And I mean, hey, I get wanting to see it, but no, that's not something that has legs right now, to our knowledge. All right, let's move on to number 2. Apparently, there's some rumors going around that a new actor may in fact play Luke Skywalker. Pardon me. A new actor may in fact play Luke Skywalker in the very, very near future, and it will not be Mark Hamill. Is this a rumor or something just pulled out of someone's ass? Tommy B, we'll start with you this time.
As a legitimate rumor.
Well, you said that with emphasis. Jeez. Fizz.
Yeah, it's definitely a rumor that's out there.
Well, guys, guess what? You're 2 for 2. Wow, you're nailing this. I won't lie. I thought I didn't think you would. Yes, it's not being covered on a lot of like high area. Pardon me. Hollywood Reporter and Variety aren't covering this, but there are some lesser-known, super reputable sources that have gotten shit right in the past that, in fact, are covering this. And I think the thing people are pointing to is, well, this might connect in with Baby Yoda somewhere in the next couple of years. So maybe it will, maybe it won't.
Now, didn't Mark Hamill himself tweet about it?
He did, but I mean, Mark Hamill says a lot.
Well, he does, but, you know, it still adds validity to that train of thought, which is, of course, going to let the fan base derail it and take it over and make it something else entirely.
All right, it's time for the final one in this Rumor or Not segment. The original cuts of the Star Wars original trilogy are, in fact, being rumored to come out on Disney Plus in the very near future by reputable sources. Is this a rumor or bullshit? Johnny.
Oh, man. I mean, I know I've seen it, but I don't know if I've seen it from any reputable sources. So I'm going to say that Disney would never be so kind as to actually release the original cuts, that I would much prefer to the crap that's come later with some of those edits. You know, Han shot first, Anakin was an old man. You know, I haterade all around for me for the some of the edits that have been made over the course of the years. I'm perfectly okay with being labeled as a hater, but
we just got a message saying we should name this segment Factor Crap.
In the vein of that, I'm going to say this is crap.
Alrighty. Tommy B, where are you sitting with this?
I agree with Johnny. This is a crap rumor.
Well, guys, you're hitting 1,000. You knocked it out of the park. This is, in fact, not a factual rumor. There's a mouthful. Look, as far as I know, they're not allowed to touch those movies as part of the deal with George Lucas. And we'll see what happens. Anyways,
would it be technically touching them if you just release them? They already exist.
Right, but I don't think George Lucas wanted... There's a really, really popular belief out there that it's in the contract to when the property was sold over to Disney, that there was a lot of things they could or could not do. Even though they own it, there were still stipulations. But, guys, that's going to do it for Rumor or Not this week. So you guys aced that. I'm not going to lie. I wasn't expecting you guys to ace that. Let's keep this show moving. This next segment, which... man, we could not come up with a real good segment name for. So we took the most basic possible segment name and applied it to, it speaks for itself, guys. This segment is called The Main Event.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening.
Let's get ready to rumble!
All right, guys, it's time for the main event of the evening. No, that doesn't mean it's the final thing we're doing on the show. But each and every week, we have a featured topic that we're going to bring to you, the fans, whether you're a live listener or someone listening or watching after the fact. And this week's featured topic of the week, the main event, is, in fact, the future of Star Wars. It seemed like a great episode title for our first episode of Star Wars, the Star Wars Renegades Podcast, pardon me. And there's so much going on right now in Star Wars, guys. The fandom is literally going off the wall with this Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau stuff. But if you've tuned into any of the Disney Gallery's making of The Mandalorian, there's good reason for it. And then you add in a side of Taika Waititi with it, and this is your immediate future of Star Wars. Perhaps your long-term future of Star Wars. Now, look, we're not here to call for anyone's job. we're not saying Kathleen Kennedy's going anywhere. Although my personal belief, this is Shawn saying this if you're not used to the voice, I don't think Kathleen Kennedy is with Lucasfilm past 2021. That's not because she's getting fired or anything. That's when the contract runs out, and it makes a lot of sense for the parties to move on at that point. It really does feel like Jon Favreau is in position to take over. And before anybody says, well, he doesn't have the qualifications to do that. Bullshit. Pay attention to what's going on right now. Johnny, Thomas, regardless of what happens with Kathleen Kennedy, the fact is our immediate future of Star Wars lies with, there's other people involved too, but mainly Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, who basically has his hands all over the place. I'm in this project. I'm in that project. I'll take that project. And Taika Waititi, who also is in multiple projects. Do you guys feel more confident about the future of Star Wars now than you did, say, 8 months ago before The Mandalorian?
Yeah, by all means. Mandalorian came out. It felt like the whole atmosphere of a fandom as toxic as ours. I got no problem saying that, even on a Star Wars podcast. It just sort of, it didn't go crystal clear, but it definitely elevated a little bit. And, you know, we really got a lot of appreciation going on for all these key folks who've been behind the series. And we're getting to see them in a very special way through this Disney Gallery series. I actually just watched the most recent episode today that detailed some of the technology they used. And yeah, I'm starting to really enjoy getting at least get to know their on-screen personas a little bit. What more could be said of it? Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, and crew. I really want to see them continue. I want to see them become more and more prominent in Star Wars. And maybe one day, you know, like the predictions say,
prominent.
They will run it.
They are literally the focal point right now. How can you be more prominent?
Well,
are you hating again, man? Are you hating again?
Hating? No. The only thing I'm hating on is I'm waiting for 2021, just like you. I can't not point this out, guys. For people who can't see the live chat right now, Zach, who will be our guest co-host later tonight on the Fandom Empire show, has stated that Jon Favreau is absolutely qualified to take over Lucasfilm because he did Iron Man and Elf.
Hey now, don't...
What you got against Elf?
Yeah, don't narc on Elf, dude.
Elf. I mean...
What you got against Elf? That's a damn good movie.
I'm saying it was a great line. As soon as I look down at the chat, because I don't have my chat on screen right now, I just have you guys on screen. So it's on my phone, and I see Zach mention Elf, and it's just like, there's the go-to. Not Jungle Book or Lion King, although Lion King was a bit of a letdown for me. Tech-wise, it wasn't, because if you watch The Mandalorian, it really started to set up what's going on right now with The Mandalorian. Elf. I see Elf on there. I'm like, well, you know what else?
Perfect example, because it's a film that's beloved by its fans.
You know what? Another reason why he's completely qualified to run Lucasfilm? He was incredible in the movie The Replacements with Keanu Reeves. Go get me that ball.
I preferred the kicker.
Oh man, what's his name? It's the dude that played the villain in Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So great cast in that movie. Gene Hackman's fantastic.
Gene Hackman is fantastic. Pretty much everything.
Anyways, Johnny, where's your take? Future Star Wars here. Right now, I guess we're just focusing in on Favreau and Filoni. It really does look like they're lining up to be the guys on some level.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly looks that way. I mean, if you'd have asked me pre-Mandalorian, might I have had a different opinion? Sure, because I didn't know how Filoni was going to translate into live action. And if there's one thing we've learned, you know, is that for him it was seamless. You know, and that's a testament. You know, that's an amazing compliment. And I'm confident if they're going to do it, that it's going to be just fine. You know, I mean, you know, you point to Iron Man and Favreau helping, create the modern MCU as we know it. And he did. He absolutely did. But he had Kevin Feige right there with him. And they did it together. And if he can, work with Filoni the way he worked with Feige, then there's absolutely, a phenomenal something to be had here. I mean, is Favreau the guy to... Is he the guy to be the guy? No, I don't think he is. Because I think he is someone who wears too many hats. I don't see him settling down and putting on one hat and just wearing it for a decade, which is what is required if you're going to sit in the big chair. But I think Filoni could be that guy. He's someone who has the history in Star Wars universe. He is arguably the most knowledgeable person on Star Wars canon in the creative side. And I'm excited for that possibility, and I think it's a very real chance that, in 2021, that if Double K has shown the door, politely or impolitely, I think there's a chance that Filoni could be the guy who's elevated up to that big chair, and I wouldn't be against it.
I love Dave Filoni, but that he's not qualified for. I think he's qualified to be the creative head, the guy who's in charge of where all the stories are going, but he cannot be the president of Lucasfilm. He is decades away from that.
I just want to see these two people running this shit, this whole house. Just run it. I don't care who gets called what. I feel like Star Wars can find no better hands in the current climate than them.
Well, I mean, time's going to tell. I happen to be on the other side of Johnny with this one. I think Jon Favreau is going to settle down and just take his part in Star Wars. I feel like if you watch the making of Mando, the writing is all over there. Then again, we could be completely off, and maybe Kathleen Kennedy's at the head for the next 10 years, and these guys are just doing their bit underneath her. Nobody really knows yet, but it's definitely picking up. Taika Waititi, guys, is going to get his own Star Wars film. Seeing him behind the scenes of The Mandalorian, the enthusiasm that's on him and how excited he is for each and every, episode, not just the one he was directing, is so noticeable. Obviously, if you don't know Taika's work, Jojo Rabbit, Academy Award winning, Thor Ragnarok, need I say more? It's my favorite MCU movie. To me, there's no confirmation yet on this. It sounds like Taika Waititi is going to get the first, cinematic Star Wars film that we go back to. Where it'll take place, nobody has any freaking idea. But are we comfortable with Taika being the director's chair of the next, cinematic Star Wars film?
Yes. Is there any other acceptable answer? No.
No, I mean, there's a lot of people out there that are literally responding with, not right now per se, but, he doesn't know the Star Wars formula and it isn't going to be, it's just going to have too much of a Taika flavor to it.
He didn't know the MCU formula and then crapped out Thor Ragnarok. I'll let him do whatever the hell he wants.
Season finale of Mando season 1, we had the Stormtroopers early on, which, by the way, I loved. Thought that was great. But that episode is fantastic. It's absolutely unbelievable. Zach says, Taika Waititi, Star Wars The High Republic. Dude, that is a very, very good bet. In my opinion, that's where they're going.
The joke he was making might have gone over your head.
I want to jump back to something you said a few moments ago, Shawn.
No.
Yeah. Taika don't know the Star Wars formula.
Whoa. I just want
personal opinion.
That is not my opinion.
No. Screw that. I want to know what's the Star Wars formula. What is it?
I don't know. You'd have to ask all these fans that consider themselves true Star Wars fans that know the true Star Wars formula.
Because if there's a Star Wars formula, I don't want it. I don't want every Star Wars movie or production or piece of any kind just be the rehash shit of the other piece. I want something to be original. Give me something different, something new. I don't want every single little thing to be about Jedi comes in, Jedi goes swingy swing, Jedi kills Sith.
When have we gotten Jedi or Sith lately?
Shot.
Like, if anything, we need more Jedi and Sith shit. They've been getting away from that.
I'm saying, though. I don't want everything to be the same. You need some diversity. This is a big galaxy. It really is. And far too often, as we were discussing earlier with Ahsoka Tano, it seems like a really tiny galaxy. Let's take advantage of how big the universe is. Really.
Man, there's so many people I see go out there and go, the galaxy is shrinking, it's shrinking, it's shrinking. And some of the choices they have made are shrinking. Like, look, for example, Make Solo 2 Happen was trending today. I believe Tommy sent out a tweet from the Fandom Empire Twitter. And apologies for the little bit of lag we got going on, guys. And I don't want Solo 2. I mean, it was an enjoyable movie, but like, there's absolutely no reason to put more resources behind that. There's none. Sorry. And if you get it, then great. But I mean, if you're going to do anything with those characters again, do it on an animated format or a Disney Plus format. Don't do it with the cinematic movies. That'd be an absolutely horrible decision. And the fact is, this isn't the Snyder Cut stuff. It's not going to happen. The movie failed terribly. Yeah, they had to spend twice the amount of money to get it out because they basically had to reshoot the whole thing. But it still didn't make very much money after that. If the film was, very good even after that, it still would have made more. And I know people are going to be like, the Star Wars fatigue and The Last Jedi this and The Last Jedi that, and I don't think that's the case. I'm up for some continuation of the story, just not cinematically. That's my personal opinion anyway. Taika Waititi, though, guys, to me is money. The real question here, though, is when we talk about the future of Star Wars and a name that we haven't mentioned yet, don't forget, Kevin Feige is doing a Star Wars film. Now we start to have details come out, not confirmed details, but rumblings are coming out that the Feige film and the Taika Waititi film are not the same film, but in fact, the films are connected, and it's not just going to be standalone movies. And that gets me really excited, especially because we know Kevin Feige and Taika Waititi have a history of working together. I think there's endless possibilities there. What do you guys think?
I think it's too early to start, taking A and putting it with B. I mean, could there, be smoke where there's be fire where there's smoke? Sure, but right now it might just be a smoke show. We're gonna have to wait and see. I mean, could they work together? Absolutely. They have that history together, but I think one of the things that people are sleeping on is I like Kevin Feige, but guy's a producer.
Well, that's what it is. He's not directing the film. He's producing his own Star Wars film, and it's already been reported by several places. It is not the same film as Taika Waititi's doing. I'm saying that it's starting to be rumbled that the two films are connected, like that it's not just going to be standalone movies. It'd be terrible if they go back and start doing standalone movies again. It didn't work. And you know what else didn't work? A sequel trilogy that wasn't planned out.
Right. Well, see, for me, there was more to that point, but he's a producer. He's not a writer. He's not a director. So until we know who those are, I'm not particularly excited for this project because, yes, Feige has so many more hits than misses, but he's also been a producer on some stinkers. I mean, he was a producer on the Daredevil movie. He was a producer on the Punisher sequel.
A Warzone?
Yeah. Yeah. He was an executive producer on, the Rise of the Silver Surfer Fantastic Four movie, which I didn't hate, but it was still not good. I mean, so he's not infallible, not by any stretch of the imagination. So I don't know, until we see who is doing the other stuff, who's doing the writing, who's doing the directing, I'm not particularly excited for this project. I mean, the idea, sure, there's potential there, but for me, see, this is where it kind of tails back into what I said. Filoni and Feige have the potential to be the same. Feige got his job working in movies because of his knowledge of the canon. That's why he got picked up by was it Avi Arad did the X-Men movies? I can't remember, but it was Richard Donner, I think, but not Richard Donner, Lauren Donner.
I was gonna say Richard Donner, man. What?
Yeah, Richard Donner. Yeah, I got Superman on the brain, dude. But that's for the next show. But he got hired because of his knowledge of the canon. That is something that Filoni does as well. So I think there's a parallel to be made there that could easily be tracked. Add in Filoni's pedigree as a director, as a an everything guy or writer. He's sat in every chair. So I think there is potential, but that's going backwards, not forwards. But I don't know how I feel about the Feige project yet because I don't know who's actually doing it. As an ideas guy, sure, he's great, but there's a difference between big picture and little picture. And if he's adding some sort of depth to a world building plan, then I'm all for that because that is something he has extreme experience in. The MCU is the perfect example of that. That's big picture. So if that's what they're bringing him in for, to help, establish the trend, establish the big picture, then hey, I'm all for that.
Well, that's what I'd hope. Like, I don't know about you. I don't want to, don't be wrong, I'm stoked for Taika Waititi, but the second I find out it's a standalone film, my excitement goes from here to way down here because we don't need standalone movies. We don't. And I get it. It's kind of contradicting because I love the Joker.
There's a place for them.
I just don't think they work with Star Wars.
You need an established universe, an established overarching universe. And before anybody says, well, we have that, the Skywalker saga, is it overarching? No, it really isn't. It's one continuous story that's a part of a larger universe. We haven't depth into that larger universe outside of, television projects. I mean, Rebels is really the only thing I can point to that has been successful that is outside of the Skywalker saga. And
go ahead.
Again, that's successful. They tried that. Solo was outside of the Skywalker saga. Rogue One was not outside of the Skywalker saga. It's direct
prequel to New Hope.
Exactly. I mean, it's episode 3.5. Really, and
3.95, but yeah.
Well, that's a more accurate, timeline. It's probably more like a 3.999, since it literally ends seconds before 4 starts. But so we need them to start. We need them to leave the Skywalker saga alone. Don't pick up from the characters from that. Don't pick out any main characters from that. If you want to have some tie-in characters, I'm all for that. If you want to use, I don't want to point to Chewie because he's too entrenched in the Skywalker saga, but there's other characters that are out there that you can. What was that?
Get away from the timeline. Like when you think about it, the Mandalorian is still in the Skywalker saga. He is. It's telling a different story that takes place in that same saga. But get the fuck away from the timeline, please. Whether you're going forward or whether you're going backwards, get away from the timeline. Or else you're going to keep running into this problem. That's the point Tommy B was making earlier. Instead of going like this, and I'm spreading my hands wide, they're pulling themselves in. And they don't need to do that. They really, honest to God, don't. Anyways, we got to keep this thing moving on, guys. Taika Waititi, Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, whether you like it or not, that is your immediate future of Star Wars. And we're going to find out real soon what they deliver. Time's flying. It really is. But let's keep the show moving on as we now head for the next segment, Renegade Recommendations. So in this segment, one of us each week, is going to give you a recommendation of something that you should check out in the Star Wars saga that's not a movie or a TV show. And for me, I'm going to point my baton at a video game, an affordable video game that has just been re-released on the PlayStation and the Nintendo Switch. And it's Star Wars Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy. What a wonderful game where you play the main character, Jaden Korr, the apprentice of Kyle Katarn, in a story that takes place in Star Wars Legends shortly after the events of Return of the Jedi. And, well, the game is not open world by any means. The lightsaber combat to this day, in my opinion, has not been matched. And that game came out 17 bloody years ago. Has not been matched. So, you can pick up Jedi Academy real cheap right now, guys, on the Nintendo Switch and or the PS4. Or you can, and I think there's slightly updated stuff with that. You can also buy it on Xbox. I think it's $10 on Xbox and $20 on the PS4 and the Nintendo Switch. You're in and around that. That's Canadian, of course. But yeah, no, Jedi Academy is my recommendation for this week to you guys. If you're itching for a new Star Wars game, while not being new, it's affordable. It's a fun playthrough. The gameplay is fun in the game. But it also has an intriguing story. It really honestly does, especially if you want to be put into the old canon and, you know, see some of the events that happen after Return of the Jedi. Guys, did either one of you have a chance to try Jedi Academy back in the day?
Oh, back in the day, sure.
What do you think of it?
Oh God, it's been a solid, 10 plus years since I last played it. So, at this point, it's mostly reminiscing and memories. But I think you hit it out of the park when you said that it was probably the best lightsaber combat that I've ever played.
Ditto. I can't tell you how many times I've done playthroughs of the story mode and then the multiplayer. It's still great. I think you and I had just booted up like a year and a half ago. I got it installed. I got to get back to doing it. It's a great game. Lightsaber combat, ditto, unmatched. Check it out.
Not to mention, during these times right now, not a ton of people have a ton of money to go blow on things at the moment. Go out there, purchase Jedi Academy if you don't already own it, and have some fun with it. It really is a fun playthrough. Anyways, Star Wars Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy is our Renegade recommendation for this week. And we keep the show rolling on straight in to Rogue's headlines. Rogue's headlines.
Where we were supposed to wear shawls.
Shawls. She sells seashells by the seashore. Can't tell you how many times I've done that before putting out a YouTube video, getting frustrated with myself. How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? It might be impressive if it wasn't like the 10th time I'd done it today. All right, it's time for Rogue's headlines. Rogue, our good buddy Ryan, who is a staff member here at Fandom Empire. Yes, Fandom Empire is a lot bigger than the three guys you see now. There are people that help out in smaller ways, whether it's on Facebook pages, Twitter pages, Instagram pages, or on and off-air talent. Ryan, a.k.a. Rogue, has put together some headlines for us that McMahon will read. This is very much like a Chris Berman NFL highlight thing. Enjoy, and here we go.
WWE superstar Sasha Banks is reportedly set to appear in The Mandalorian's second season, as is Ming-Na Wen, but no confirmation as yet. Wen appeared to be killed in Season 1. We can count on seeing Michael Vine in the series, but no word on who he is playing. Jamie Lee Curtis was seen on the set, but it's not clear why she was there. The show's effects are the talk of the town, so she could have been checking that out. She's also been a director, which could be another reason she was there. We, of course, have all heard the rumors that Rosario Dawson will be appearing as Ahsoka Tano, and Katie Sackhoff will be reprising her role as Bo-Katan. as well as Tamora Morrison playing Boba Fett and perhaps Rex. It's also reported that Sabine Wren could appear, but none of those rumors have been confirmed, though most assume them to be true. Robert Rodriguez and Peyton Reed have confirmed through Instagram that they will be directing episodes in Season 2. They join Rick Famuyiwa, Jon Favreau, and Dave Filoni, who returned as directors from Season 1. Jimmy Smits and Alistair Petrie, who play Bail Organa and David Strevin, are both rumored to appear in the untitled Cassian Andor series, which has already added Genevieve O'Reilly's Mon Mothma. Clone Wars voice actor Catherine Tabor will be reading Queen's Peril for the audiobook. She has voiced Padme in the Clone Wars as well as a number of other projects and has also voiced Vet in the Old Republic, Princess Leia in The Force Unleashed, and Mission Veo in Knights of the Old Republic. Star Wars fan Kyle Newman is best known for Fanboys and his live Star Wars stage shows that have highlighted past celebrations, but recently he's been involved in a nasty divorce with wife Jamie King, which has of course seen both sides filing motions and restraining orders against each other. Charles Lippincott has passed away at the age of 80 due to complications from a heart attack. He was the advertising and publicity sponsor on the original Star Wars. He was instrumental in getting Marvel Comics to do the tie-ins, and Del Rey to publish Star Wars books, and toymaker Kenner to make the toys. All three partnerships continue today as Del Rey still publishes the new canon, Marvel is once again publishing Star Wars comics, and Kenner was bought out by Hasbro, which continues to make Star Wars toys. It's likely that without Lippincott, Star Wars might not have had the same impact as a brand as it does now. He also promoted films such as Alien, Flash Gordon, and the original film Westworld, which went on to inspire the current HBO series. Another original Star Wars alum, Ken Nightingale, has also passed away at the age of 92 at his home on May 19th. He became a bit of a cult favorite to Star Wars fans as Pink Shorts Boom Guy, as he appeared in behind-the-scenes photos and clips wearing pink shorts while holding a boom microphone. He also worked on Alfie, Funeral in Berlin, The Boys from Brazil, and Supergirl.
And that is our Rogue headlines for this week. Big shout out to Ryan for gathering those, and big shout out to Fizz for not only reading them in a quick manner, but doing it over top of music that normally your co-host can't hear as you're doing it, but they absolutely can hear thanks to this new little device we're using on the show called the Rodecaster Pro. Fizz, you knocked it out of the park. Great job. That, ladies and gentlemen, is going to bring us to our final segment of the evening, a segment that we put a lot of thought and consideration in to doing on this show each and every week. If you know our old show, we used to do Star Wars trivia. It's trivia-ish. It definitely has some trivia to it, but it's definitely going to test your Star Wars might, your Star Wars knowledge, but in a very different way. Because our final segment of the show is none other than the Star Wars Deathwatch. This segment is, in fact, the Deathwatch.
I claim this sword, and my rightful place as leader of Deathwatch.
The real question is, will you two survive the Deathwatch? So how this works, everybody, is each and every week, one of us is going to take a turn being the master of the Deathwatch. It won't just be us participating. We will bring in live viewers and or guest hosts to participate in this too. The way this works, and you'll catch on, is the questions are all surrounded around Star Wars deaths, whether it's current canon or legends. How well do you know Star Wars and the people that have died in Star Wars? Well, we're about to find out. In the first matchup of the Deathwatch, we have Johnny going up against Tommy. And Johnny, being a long-time, back-in-the-day Star Wars Wastelands champion, I'm going to allow him to call the bottle cap flip since we do not have a coin in front of us right now. Johnny,
how do you not have a coin in front of you?
You have...
What?
You
what
have
kind of rinky-dink...
You have
what
solids.
Kind of rinky-dink operation is this that you don't have a coin you can flip?
I spent I spent the budget on the Rodecaster Pro. I didn't have any more money for any coins. We have this right here. It's solid, or you have hollow. Call it solid or hollow. Here we go. Hollow. Here we go. And it is solid. So, Tommy B, you...
I object on the grounds I can't see the coin landing.
Tommy B, you get to give us 3 numbers between 1 and 6, and you get to go first.
Take 1.
Yep.
6.
Yep.
5.
No, that's it. That's your 3 numbers. No more. Which gives McMahon 2, 3, 4. All righty. Here we go. Tommy B, you are up first in the first round of the Death Watch. This is how this works, everybody, is nobody's sending their answers in via Messenger. They're going to answer live on air right now. But the question that Tommy B gets first here, Johnny cannot answer. Tommy B has to answer. Even if Johnny knows the answer, he doesn't get to answer because it's not his question. That's what happens when you lose the bottle cap flip. Should have been a coin toss, but it was a bottle cap flip for the first episode. Why the hell not? All right, Tommy B, you're up first. Here we go. Question number 1. Listen carefully, because you only get 1 repeat. And you only have 15 seconds to answer. I was hunting family. I was a powerful Jedi Master. I was killed by family while I was hunting them. Who am I?
I get a repeat, don't I?
Yes. I was hunting family. I was a powerful Jedi Master. And I was killed by family while I was hunting them. More specifically, while I was hunting him.
I think I know who it is.
You're on the clock, Tommy B. 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time's up. No answer. No answer from Tommy B. You can take a crack at it, but you don't get the point. Yeah.
I think it's Mara Jade.
It is Mara Jade. That's right. The answer was Mara Jade, but you don't get a point for it, so shame on you for not getting
I get the moral victory. That's good enough.
We're going to flip.
Wait. And she was hunting Luke Skywalker?
No, I never said she was hunting her husband. She was hunting family. She was hunting Jason Solo.
She hunted Luke,
I never finished reading that series. I only know how it goes.
So, alrighty, and that one was a Star Wars Legends one. All right. Johnny, you're up. You got the number 2, so your question is, I was a keeper of items. I was friends with Jedi Master Luke Skywalker, and I was killed very quickly in my only appearance in a Star Wars film. Who am I?
Oh, God, what is his name?
10 seconds.
Old man in the start of 7.
5. 4.
I can't remember his name.
You're just handing it out?
I can't remember his name. I know the character. I mean, I'm assuming it's old guy at the start of 7, but I cannot remember his name.
Tommy B, you won't get the points for it, but do you know who it is?
No, it's on tip of my...
Oh, you were about to say it.
Yeah, now I know it.
I'm going to mess up the first name, but Lor Santeca, yes?
Basically, yeah, yes. Lor Santeca. But you don't get points for it, so you now have both done that to one
I just couldn't remember his name.
So the story,
until after Tommy did the and that's like crap.
We send it back over to Tommy B in our Death Watch segment.
This is how it's going to be. I know all of Tommy's and he knows all of mine.
All right, Tommy B, listen closely. Number 6. I was royalty. I appear in several Star Wars movies, comics, and novels. and I die in the final part of a Star Wars story that could be a movie, novel, comic, or game. Who am I?
Repeat it, please.
I'll try to simplify it here for you. Where are we here? I was royalty. I appear in several Star Wars movies, comics, and novels. And I die in the final part, or in a final piece of Star Wars media.
Well, this is probably going to be wrong because it's too easy, but I'm going to go with Palpatine.
That is incorrect. I also don't think Palpatine's technically royalty.
An emperor. An emperor is royalty.
No, it's not. It's an appointed position.
Yes.
You don't appoint an emperor. What empire are you looking at?
Do you know the answer, McMahon? Johnny, whatever?
I would have guessed either Padme or Leia.
One of them are correct.
Then I'd go Padme.
It's Leia. All right, we send it back over to Johnny, who picked the number 3, or had the number 3 picked for him in this Deathwatch competition. I was in politics. I played a vital role during Order 66. And I was killed during Star Wars A New Hope. Who am I? That is Johnny, you hear banging on the desk. Alrighty. I was in politics. I played a vital role in Order 66. And I was killed during Star Wars A New Hope. 10 seconds. 5, 4,
Moff Tarkin?
3. No. We were looking for Bail Organa.
Yes, I had it. You know it doesn't matter.
You guys have literally
I didn't
gone...
think of him. What was his role in Order 66? It's like
he quite literally saved Yoda.
Okay,
that's
okay.
pretty good.
Saved
role.
Yoda,
I was thinking
snuck
more
them back
literal
in.
than okay.
All right, question number 5. Here we go. Where are we? Tommy B.
Yep.
Here we go. This is your final question, man. Make or break for you. There is no overtime. You only get 3 pieces in this. I defied the Jedi Council. My master turned away from the Jedi. And I died prior to the Clone Wars. Who am I?
Qui-Gon Jinn.
That is correct. We got a point on the board. So Tommy has a point in the Deathwatch. The most we can do here is tie. Tie, and the battle will continue in another match, or McMahon will die during the Deathwatch. Alrighty. Question number 4. I was once a member of the Jedi Council. I have been played on screen in live action by 2 different actors, and I died on the Death Star. Who am I? I'll give you a hint on this one too. Tommy B might not be happy with this one. Think real hard on the wording.
Repeat it, please.
I was once a member of the Jedi Council. I've been played on screen by 2 different actors, live action, and I died on the Death Star.
It's got to be Vader. I can't think of anyone else that has been on the council that died on the Death Star.
Well, I mean, there's 2 pretty prominent ones, but is that what you're going with?
Died on the Death Star? Oh, God.
And they both tie in really closely
together.
together.
To everything. Oh, my God. But I think your phrasing is where you're trying to trip me up. You're trying to make me say Vader, but that's not true because 2 different people played 2 different. One played Anakin. Only one ever played Anakin. Oh, God. Two. it's Obi-Wan Kenobi.
That is incorrect. You overthought
There
yourself.
was 3
No
people that
shit.
played Anakin.
Really?
Jake Lloyd, Hayden Christensen, David Prowse. That is 3 people, not 2.
David
Wow.
Prowse never.
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
David Prowse
was-
never played Anakin Skywalker.
Yes, he did.
No, he did not.
Yes,
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Original cut, Revenge of the
Got your back on his.
original cut.
Yes, he did.
Original cut
I
of
call
Jedi. No, I call bullshit. I call bullshit.
David Prowse is never seen on screen as Anakin Skywalker. And here's what matters. Here's what matters is you have to look at where we are right now in canon. So I see where you're going with that, Fizz, because technically the mask comes off. So this is what we're gonna do. I'm literally gonna pull one off the top of my head here, because technically 3 different people play Anakin: Hayden, Jake, and the man underneath the mask at the end of Return of the Jedi, which is not David Prowse, by the way. I don't even have the name. It's really not David Prowse. So here's one for you guys. All right, here we go. Or for Johnny, this is off the top of the head. Best I can do, dude. Here we go. I was an integral part of the war against the Yuuzhan Vong. I was a powerful Jedi, and I was killed by my own flesh and blood. Who am I? Ten seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ben Skywalker.
That is incorrect. We were looking for Jason Solo. And therefore, your winner of the Deathwatch here in the first ever Star Wars Renegades podcast episode, The Future of Star Wars, is Tommy B. And Johnny, in fact, did not survive the Deathwatch, even
#screwjob.
even with an extra question his way as well. We were looking for Jason Solo there.
Screwjob.
I want to double back on that real quick before we end here.
Yep.
Is Mara Jade really Jason Solo's flesh and blood?
Yes.
Mara Jade didn't kill Jason Solo. Jaina Solo killed Jason Solo.
Also, yes. Mara is his aunt?
I'm getting confused who killed who. Look, see? That's a question I would have gotten wrong.
So, all right, guys, that's it. That's it. The first episode is in the bag. Apologies for the issues early on. We're not used to doing a show with so much structure, and we'll definitely get it down. And I will do my best to call Johnny and not McMahon and Fizz and Popsicle Stick through future episodes. That's, guys, we're at the end. This is the end of the first episode of the Star Wars Renegades podcast, which seems like an appropriate time to head on over to our social media plugs. If you're active on Instagram, you can follow us at Star Wars Renegades, all one word, or you can follow our overall brand, Fandom Empire, which is Fandom Empire Now on Instagram. Again, it's Star Wars Renegades or Fandom Empire Now. On Twitter, we are at SW Renegades or at Fandom Empire Now. And on Facebook, you can find us at Star Wars Renegades or Fandom Empire. This is also a good time to plug the wonderful people that are supporting what we're doing right now at this moment. We just launched our very own Patreon. We were asked by a couple of people if we consider doing it. We weren't sure we would get the support, and which is kind of well, it was BS because I was wrong. There are already 12 people supporting us on Patreon, backing us up in what we're doing, and we can't thank you enough. Joey, Aaron, Joseph, Nick, James, Matt, Brianna, Kenny, Brian, Reno, Aaron, and Jim. You guys are awesome. Big thanks for backing us up in what we're doing here, whether it's the Star Wars Renegades podcast, whether it's the Fandom Empire show, whether it's the now announced Camp Haddonfield podcast or our Halloween YouTube updates or any of our YouTube updates. When you support us on Patreon, it goes to all of those ventures, not just one. So if you have a couple bucks lying around and it's not going to leave you and your family short, because you should never do that, and you want to support what we're doing here and what we're growing here, then go to www.patreon.com/fandomempire. Take a look at the tiers and find a tier that best fits your needs. We'd appreciate the support, and even if you can't, we appreciate you guys taking the time to tune in, whether you tune in for part of an episode or the whole thing. We definitely appreciate you taking your valuable time and spending it here with us. You can check out Johnny at Fandom_McMahon on Twitter, Tommy B at XAS1650, or myself at Shawn Sage. That's SHAWN SAJE. Again, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for going on this journey with us. We ran a little long, just so you know. Normal Star Wars Renegades podcast episode lengths are going to be around 60 to 70 minutes. We knew tonight would be longer. And thanks for coming on this journey with us. Tommy B, thanks for doing this tonight, man.
Hey, it's been a fantastic launch. Love it. Can't wait till next week.
And Johnny, thanks for doing this, dude.
You screwed me, dude. Not cool. On a first episode, you throw a screw job out in episode 1. Not cool, man. I will have my vengeance.
Hey, you had a redemption shot, and you airballed the shit out of that.
The first one right.
You airballed that.
Technically, no. I didn't airball it because my answer applied.
No, Ben didn't die. So, no, it didn't. Alrighty. Anyways, guys, this has been the Star Wars Renegades podcast. If you are tuning in live right now on our Facebook pages, give us 5 minutes or so, and we will be back with the first episode of the Fandom Empire show. Zach will be joining us. And that show's not nearly as long as this one. And we'll have some fun over there. Again, if you want to support what we're doing, hit us up on Patreon, www.patreon.com/fandomempire. Or just check us out on our socials. It'd be greatly appreciated if you take some time to follow us on Instagram or on Twitter. At SW Renegades on Twitter and Star Wars Renegades on Instagram. And you can also check this out on all your podcatchers, although I believe Apple Podcast is still being delayed. We're everywhere else. And if you're listening to the audio, and you want to see the video, check us on YouTube. We're up every Tuesday with new episodes. For Tommy and Johnny, and not to mention the other extended staff that goes into making Fandom Empire what it is, whether it's Laura, Brian, Brianna, Ryan, even Jade, who helps support us, Reno, and so many more. I'm sure I'm forgetting someone in that list. Thank you for supporting us on this journey, and we'll see you next time on the Star Wars Renegades podcast. May the Force be with you.